everybody. This is a regular meeting of the policy subcommittee on Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Roll call.
Mr. DiBiaseu?
Here.
Mr. Deegan?
Here.
Ms. Menard? Here.
I need a motion to approve January 11th, 2024 minutes. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
1.3. We have individual contract agreement dispute policy GDB-1. Amy Boise and Kevin Lazaro. I did meet with Mr. Bentley, and we did go over the contracts, and then I had a discussion with our attorney, and it's up to this committee. You heard what was presented the other day, but a contract's a contract, and you signed it. Whatever's on it is what you own. So my position to the full committee, if this subcommittee agrees, is to go to the full committee with us saying that us voting at the regular committee on the contract is contract, and the sick time is set at $60, and that's it. Okay.
No, I mean, I read through everything as well. And, while some of the things we had did open up some questions, there were a lot of questions on how to look into this and how to read this. In the end of the day, I tend to agree that, the contract is signed and agreed upon. It is a binding document that should be adhered to. I've been in situations where I've had my own contracts, and I understand how that goes. So.
I agree.
Okay.
Is it possible for some?
One second. And also, I did see in the discussion was about the $850 for Mr. Lazaro. It is not in his contract. He was issued it the year before, and my feeling is because he was given it the year before, which probably should have not been given, but he did not know he had to ask, they have that money. So I would say he's entitled to the $850 only because we made the mistake the year before of giving him the $850. So my feeling is to this committee and to the full committee I'll give is that he gets the $850 for the class he took for this job.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we set the precedent the first year, so I mean, you can't really go back on that. I agree with that.
Well, I think one of the things is that it's may have had oversight, but we probably should have sat down with Kevin and whomever to tell them that it was an oversight. But having not done that, so he just went through the normal procedure the next following year, thinking that he was entitled to it. He had no reason to believe that he wasn't. So therefore, I do think it's fair and reasonable to pay that $850 payment.
Agreed.
And the medical from Mr. Lazaro and his wife, it clearly states in the DTA contract that there were only 4 couples that were grandfathered in, and I don't believe Mr. Lazaro and his wife are entitled to the 90%. It says it does not give any provision in his contract, his individual contract. So therefore, I would recommend that gets denied.
So that's something that was set in the past, and those previous couples were grandfathered into that situation. So if another couple within the school gets married, they don't fall into that qualification.
The contract in 2021, when it was signed, stipulated to 4 couples existing at that time, 21 through 24. Okay, and it is those 4 couples that it's stipulated. In fact, it went so far into the language, it said it is not being extended to anyone else. I believe you have that
Yes.
in front of you in the contract.
I just want to make sure that.
And if I may, to the chair, to the subcommittee, you're also talking to Mr. Kitchen. If in fact, Lazaro, it's not in his contract. I don't think he disputes that, but it's in the DTA contract. His wife's a member of the DTA. So she wants to challenge the contract. she can challenge the contract as a DTA member. I don't know if the DTA will bring it forward on her behalf. But
All due respect, if I may, Mr. Chamberlain, I'm the one that's the insurance provider. This is a separate entity. This is my approach to this. This has nothing.
no, it's okay. I'm just saying there's enough. I understand, Kevin, you can do it. I'm not telling you did anything wrong. I'm just saying is that by the committee saying it's not in your contract, whoever it is, a mechanism for your wife if she wanted to so choose.
Right.
That's the language that you're trying to invoke that language
Yeah,
into
I'm
your
just trying to
contract.
make, I'm just, honestly, Greg, I'm just trying to keep it delineated, her out of it. This is my.
I have no problem with that. Just letting you know that, which
Understood.
you probably know it.
Yeah, just trying to
I'm
keep
not
that-
questioning you, just trying to let you know that the provision is in one of the spouse's contracts. So if they wanted to challenge that, they could on that end.
And again, I'm not here personally to rehash the argument. You guys give me the form to present it. I present it, you're giving a decision. I mean, obviously, I have follow-up questions once I have that room to speak freely, if that's okay with the committee here.
Would you like to?
Yeah.
address us?
Do you want me to come in and so I can make sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I say one thing, Kev? And I'm not trying to be again. I'm going to advise the committee to not have any comments,
Okay.
simply because we've been contacted by an attorney.
Excuse me?
We've been contacted by your attorney. So I'm not gonna, you can make any comments you want, but I'm not gonna have them say anything, because if there's potential litigation, I'm not gonna have them say anything further.
That's
Just
your
since the
choice.
last meeting,
Mr. Lazaro,
but he can't speak. if they
Mr.
choose to
Lazaro,
allow it.
if it's gonna be, concerning the same things that you talked about last time, that's already on public record. I would just like to leave it at that.
No, I just have a question about next steps, really. Okay, you know, as it relates to grievance procedure, when I approached to have this heard out, this is the form they gave me. Due to the fact that Mr. Bentley stated that I am not a union member, which I stated my concern about that. What's the next procedure for me here in this form? Is it arbitration? What's the next steps in that process? Is there a process at all? Is this the last stop here?
Your contract doesn't provide for a grievance procedure, so therefore it will be the last stop unless you choose to take it further action to enforce a provision of a contract, whether it exists or not.
So the question still stands, is what recourse do I have here? Do I have the same grievance procedures, which I don't clearly? What's the next step for me through the committee from this
The
step?
committee's heard. Even if it was a grievance
So-
procedure, the grievance, it's the last stop.
I just want, this is the last stop, to be clear. Okay, that's the only question I really have here. Obviously, you're aware of my contact with an attorney, so I'll leave it at that.
One question, the last stop will be at the full committee when we vote.
Yeah. I'm just saying the
Not
committee's the
here,
last
it's
stop.
Full committee that has to approve what we're recommending.
Thank you for answering my question.
I have one question. I would like for you to explain to me what the policy is and why you have it in place.
You have a contract. I'm not looking at anything to do with the policy. I'm looking at your contract. Your contract, you signed it.
Right, but you wrote a policy, and that's what I'm questioning is the policy. So you get to pick and choose, again, what you can pick and choose what you want to argue about. My argument is not only about the contract, my argument is about the policy, because you have two in place. And at the last meeting, you wanted to refer to the policy as a template, and then you wanted to say that you wanted to put everybody on an even playing field. Remember, I was here when that happened, and you wanted everybody on an even playing field. So in reality, you didn't do an even playing field, because back then, when we did the contract, my hours went up by 10 hours a month. How was that fair? Was that equitable? You wanted everybody equitable, right? Because the bottom line is, you were trying to take away from certain people, Lazaro being one of them, of his special treatment by Tom Morgan. So we were gonna remove all of that. So that's where everybody was gonna be equal. So then now you have this policy, or what you call a template, to make everyone equal. I want you to explain to me the policy. Why is it written? Why do we have it if we can't refer it to the policy? If it's contracts only, don't write policies.
Well, Amy, all I can tell you is if your
You
claim,
can't even explain it.
if your claim about the 10 hours or anything else, you should have addressed it with the school committee
Right.
or the
But I
attorney that was
had, you know
doing
what I
it
was told?
at
I
that
could,
time.
if I didn't like it, you could go elsewhere. Again, the hostile work environment that we worked in because we're on individual contracts. So that's, you don't like it, too bad. That's what you're told. That's what we were told. What I'm asking you is to explain a policy that you write. Are you not on this committee? Are you not on this board right now and you can't explain the policy?
I'm not sitting here
That's a
discussing the
problem.
policy at this time, it's not on the agenda.
Right, because you don't know it.
So, moving on to 1.4. 1.4, I read this over with Mr. Bentley. It's insurance and annuity plan, and it's for, this is the one who covers the, not a second here, same one I read.
It's the travel plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is a travel plan, I'm just getting to that over here. So my plan, my position to this committee is, if we start saying what time people have to return vehicles, or if we have a group of our instructors and some kids up at Skills at Marlboro and it goes later than 4 or whatever the time is going to be on this policy, then we're going to be paying a lot of money to Tremblay, who doesn't have enough buses now, to be taking us and sitting there all day and waiting. So at this point, I would say let's take no action to this policy.
Well,
I've given you some suggested
This,
in red.
the one you saw, you circled here?
Next one.
Oh, I apologize.
You have in your packet. This is what you listed. Right here. This one.
Oh, you know something, it's underneath. I apologize.
And that one.
I apologize. Is this one from the state? This one here?
The language and the.
'Cause usually it'll give me a number if it's from the MSRC.
Yes, it is.
Usually I'll have a number, I don't see a number. That's why
In the
I-
upper right hand corner, expired
JJHR.
JJH-R, and it was adopted by this committee on 6/17/2021. On the backside, down the bottom, of if you turn the page over, you'll see it was adopted. What I'm calling the committee's attention to is that it does indicate the use of vans, auto trips to late night or overnight is prohibited.
Correct.
And in essence, that's not what we do. We do have vans, school vans, that the teachers do take when they go to overnight trips, such as DECA, such as Skills USA, and some of them do go late night. So that I'm asking this committee to take a look at their policy and to look at what is actually done in practice and to modify it, which is the strikeouts in red with language indicating this is what we do.
Right,
That would conform to the practice that we have.
because everything else was Bentley we do. I believe here,
Correct.
so, so if,
For
everybody
clarification
see
purposes, there was contact made with MASC, and they mostly put it right back on the board to say that you can, this is what they're suggesting, but the board can modify it. So the language that you see on the proposed paper is something that worked on this board to
Mr.
consider.
Chairman, MASC saying the approval from both?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Am I missing this when it says the use of school vans for late night or overnight travel must have the approval of the superintendent, director, and the school committee?
That's the current
we
practice.
approve any out of state, this is for out of state.
Anything that is out of state or late night
That
travel
doesn't
comes
say out of
before this
state.
board. It goes through the internal process.
So if they say yes, you say no, it stops?
No, it would have to come from me going to them. I probably would not say no. I would
I know,
question
you're
it.
saying and. So you have to have both.
Well, currently, as in tonight, we are
And is
going to act on.
I know.
Some of what I've already done.
it says must have the approval and the approval.
The only thing on this,
They said to have both. I'm not making a big deal. They said to have both. The problem is you should just do the school committee. The school committee is in charge of doing all overnight travel or late night travel. If they have to.
The
approve them now.
MASC did not say that. No, to be clear, I'm sorry, I'm mixing it up. This MASC put it back on the board. The current practice we have is that it goes through the internal, and then it goes to the board for approval for late night or for overnight travel, goes to the board. If the board says no, it's no. We just go through the preliminary of clearing it. Do they have insurance? Where are they going? What's the accommodations? How much is it gonna cost? Are the funds available? We clarify that. Then it goes before. the
Yeah,
board.
obviously, you wouldn't bring it to the board unless they approve, so.
Right, if it didn't meet the steps internally, it would not be here, such as we're going to do tonight later on at the regular school committee meeting. That is a mistaken word, that it should be stricken. So-
No, I just wasn't sure. In other words, it's gotta go to your, if you say no right from the start, it never gets to the board.
Correct, it won't go, if I deem that a trip for overnight travel or late night travel is not the correct thing to do, it goes back to the advisor to say, we have that discussion, it wouldn't make it here to the board.
Doesn't go to the school committee, that's right.
The only thing on this, Mr. Bentley, is this is just talk about, and overnight, I apologize. Yeah. Yeah, so, with that, my big thing was, it was the way MASRC was trying to do is, we wouldn't be able to use vans anymore, like if we're going, Deck is going somewhere and has 8 kids and 2 instructors, and they're going somewhere and they're gonna stay overnight, they'd have to take a bus up, bus would have to sit all day, pay for him, pay for him to come back. So this would, like when I just went to the checker down the gate, majority of the schools use vans. They all use vans and they're all parked in the parking lot. So they didn't pay for any transportation because they had their own buses, their own vans. So I, with that revision, as long as our attorney agrees that it's okay,
Yeah, I just wasn't sure of that process.
Okay.
So if Brian says no, it never
Sorry,
gets
confusion.
should we,
If you say no, it doesn't go any further.
Right, it wouldn't get to this board if it stopped.
Okay.
all right, my question is, right, if, we get a superintendent that doesn't like a certain, group, that doesn't want him to
Well,
travel,
that's,
should we just put the board, the school
No,
committee,
no.
take out superintendent?
no, the superintendent has to,
If we have a
According to-
superintendent that doesn't like a certain committee, we shouldn't have that superintendent.
So,
it has to go through
yeah, well,
the superintendent.
we had that
Good with that?
before. So with the revisions, I say, I would recommend it to the full committee. You?
Yeah.
With that. 3.0, adjournment, motion to adjourn.
So
Second, all in favor? Aye.
with that,